They seemed untouchable, a couple that embodied everything a man could dream of. They're watched, praised, and imitated. They were not just a love story, they were symbols of hope that true love could exist in a world full of turmoil. People worshipped them because their love seemed easy, without pressure. But what if I told you that what the world saw was only on the surface? Behind every beautiful picture and every well-chosen word, lies a dark lie that could change everything you thought you knew about yourself. This is not a story of a man and a woman who lost their way. This is a story of how loyalty became a mask, hiding betrayal, deceit, and choices that would destroy their well-ordered world. And what's so amazing? People who followed him, who worshipped his idol, didn't know they were participating in the lie. Before we dive into their world, let's take a look. Why are we drawn to love stories? Is it because we want to believe that love can conquer all? Or is it because we see in this story what is missing in our lives? Think about that when we publish a story that will make you wonder not only about the couple, but about the stories we take in moments of love and trust. Their story began as a dream. Two people from different worlds met in a way that seemed destined for them. Everything about their relationship felt like life, their first meeting, their whirlwind romance, the way they complemented each other in a way that seemed scripted. Some even joked that their story was so perfect, like something out of a movie. But isn't that what made them so magnetic? They weren't just two people in love, they were an idea that millions of people believed in without question. For years, they gave the world something to believe in. They were beautiful, successful, and they always seemed to get along. Their smiles, their laughter, their inner humor, everything seemed so real, unwavering. People continued their stories because it was comforting. If they can do all this, maybe others can too. But nothing lasts forever. After a while, the pieces started to appear. They didn't show up at first. Strange moments in interviews, cold faces during public appearances, strange rumors spread immediately. Many ignored it. There are limits to good relationships, right? What people don't see is that these areas aren't just about property. They are the first signs of something bigger. Something that will destroy not only their relationship, but their trust in the world. The love story everyone loves is a constructed illusion. The truth is more difficult, and more surprising, than one might think. The main attraction of this story is not the tragedy itself. This is how the couple was able to hide their secret for so long, how they protected their image, and how their choices affected the people they made happy. This is not just a story about two people. It's a story about how fame, power, and the pressure to look good can destroy even the strongest relationships. As we begin to peel back the layers of this couple's story, remember one thing: what you see is not always what you get. These photos, these interviews, these major initiatives, they are all pieces of a puzzle designed to present a version of the truth to the world. But behind the scenes, the real story is messier, more tragic, and more human. This is a love story that has not only stood the test of time, but also the test of betrayal, desire, and the hardship of waiting. It's a reminder that even the most perfect life can hide the darkest secrets. As we delve deeper into their world, you'll discover that one moment, one choice, can change everything. Before we go any further, take a moment to ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to maintain that perfect image? How far would you go to protect something you know is not true? Because to this couple, their secret is worth far more than anyone could imagine. So, if you're ready to uncover the scandal that shook the foundations of a love story that the entire country thought was doomed, stay tuned. This is just the beginning, the truth will soon emerge. Their story began as if it were destined, the kind of meeting you only see in movies or read about in romance novels. Two people from completely different worlds appear in the same place at the same time. But it's not just about being in the right place, it's how they found each other, how their worlds seemed to collide and fit together perfectly. Before they met, they led very different lives. He is a rising star who has built his career and reputation through relentless hard work. She was known for her charm and determination and won the hearts of many. People like him because he seems genuine and down to earth, despite his fame. On the other hand, this is a success story written for you. He came from a humble background, but with his diligence and wisdom, he eventually reached the pinnacle of his career. He had faith, which made people follow him and believe in him. To many, he proved that if you work hard enough, you can achieve anything. They met at a special event where the rich and famous gather to enjoy and be admired. He arrived with his usual grace, and his presence lit up the room. There he was in sight, his laughter echoing through the crowd. When their eyes met, it changed. For a moment the noise in the room seemed to disappear, leaving only the two of them. That night they had a great time, and it was as if they had known each other for a long time. At the same time, he was struck, lightning flew, and no one could stop it. From that night on, their lives intertwined. Their love was passionate, the kind of love story that is larger than life. They seem to support each other in every way. He brings joy and light to his ordered, ambitious world. They have given him the sense of peace and security he has always craved. Together they feel unstoppable. The whole world soon saw their love. Pictures of them holding hands, laughing together, and sharing peaceful moments began to appear everywhere. Fans can't get enough of them. They were perfect, for nothing. The media dubbed them the couple of the century. Their love story becomes a symbol of hope, a reminder that in a world full of pain and disappointment, true love still exists. People adore them and use their relationship as a blueprint for love. They not only love each other, but also help each other achieve their dreams. He spoke candidly about how he inspired her to do things she never thought she would do. We thank him for calming her down and reminding her to enjoy the journey instead of just thinking about where she was going. They seemed to exude joy whenever they were seen together. Their smiles, their bodies, the way they looked at each other, everything was so satisfying. People want to believe them, to believe that their love is real. But even in those early days, there were subtle signs that things weren't as good as they seemed. His close friends recognized the critical moment, and the petty dispute was quickly resolved in public. Still, no one thought much of it. After all, every relationship has its ups and downs. Their story is so complicated not because they love each other, but because they bring out the best in each other, or so it seems. Together they create a perfect life on the outside. Lavish vacations, friendly media coverage, and kindness become their hallmarks. There are more than a few of these, they are a type, a symbol of what everyone wants but can't have. But we soon discover that perfection is often just an illusion. After the incident, their relationship becomes more complicated than anyone could have imagined. Although their love story was carefully crafted and praised worldwide, its foundation was not as solid as it seemed. Let's preserve their perfect couple image now. Let's remember how they smiled at each other and how they made us believe the story. Because very soon, that picture will start to collapse. Their love story started like a dream, but dreams don't last forever. As we delve deeper into their journey, we'll see how cracks started to appear in their relationship and how these cracks can lead to imbalances. Believe me, this affects the world. For many years, it seemed like their love would never end. Every public event, every conversation, every carefully orchestrated moment paints a picture of a few who have it all. But like stories too good to be true, there's more going on behind closed doors than anyone could ever imagine. The explosion was almost imperceptible at first. Friends who spent time with them describe brief moments of tension, heated words, or sudden silences between them. But these times pass quickly. After all, even the best relationships have their ups and downs, right? In public, they are as dazzling as ever. The two attended charity events together, shared sweet photos of their lives together, and spoke of each other with loving words about the world. But beneath the surface, things began to change. The pressures of public image began to weigh on both of them. Every move was scrutinized, every word and decision censored. She often confided in close friends that she felt like she was losing herself and that the person the world admired was not her true self. She smiles for the camera, laughing constantly, but deep down she feels stuck. For him, the mood was different. A man who had achieved success through hard work and determination, he was good at handling situations. But the demands of his relationships, combined with the constant attention, made him feel like he had lost control of the life he had so carefully created. He began to withdraw, focusing more on his work and less on his relationships. The once fiery chemistry between them had begun to fade. What used to be a great conversation is now getting tense. Small disagreements over trivial matters have turned into big arguments. But they all know exactly how to put on a great show. In front of everyone else, they are still a match made in heaven. But it's getting harder to hide the cracks. People are starting to notice subtle changes. He was laughing without really listening and couldn't reach his eyes. In an interview, he refused to answer questions about the couple's future. The pause is brief, but long enough to whisper. Rumors began to spread in the tabloids and on social media. Some people think there is something wrong with them, while others dismiss the rumors as mere talk. After all, they are husband and wife, a couple everyone admires. It seems unlikely that they could be anything but perfect. Once they close the door, things will get even harder. Their arguments have become more frequent, and the things they used to like about each other have become a source of disappointment in their eyes. She often felt like he wasn't listening to her, that his thoughts were always elsewhere. She eventually felt dissatisfied with the sacrifices he was making to keep their lives together. This isn't just their relationship. The pressure of the public image is starting to take its toll on their brains. He struggles with anxiety and feels like he has to be perfect all the time. On the other hand, he copes with stress by devoting himself more and more to his work, and this creates a sense of distance that they don't know how to connect with. Now it's time for the secret. It's small at first, but it's not secret. It's easier to hide the truth than to lie so that nothing bad happens to you. Over time, these little secrets started to grow, and it became difficult to keep track of the gap between them. They all know something is wrong, but none of them want to admit it. Admitting it would mean admitting that their perfect love story, the story the world loves, is not perfect. So they go and make a bold statement by standing in front of the camera and pretending that everything is fine. But the spark was there, they grew. The turning point came one evening at a famous event. They gathered together, smiling as always, but something was different. Those present said later that they could hear a noise between them. It looked strange, and it was far away. When they left the show, they couldn't talk. It was a small detail, but it wasn't missed. At this point the whispers turned into questions. What happens after the show? Has their love story begun to fade? No one knew this was just the beginning. The explosion that had been building for years was about to explode, revealing a breach that would change everything. It started with a whisper, a small talk that many people dismissed out of ignorance. The headlines here, the media coverage there. But, as the saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. In this case, the fire was much bigger than anyone thought. The first tip came in the form of a suspicious email. No one really knows how it happened or who was behind it, but what was inside was not good. It was branded as a mystery, and if true, it would damage the couple's image. The email said it was adultery, not just a single mistake but a series of scams. At first, they denied everything. They said, information is nonsense. Everyone talks about love stories spreading like their own. Fans quickly defended themselves, dismissing accusations that they were trying to attract attention. But then the leaks started coming. A lot of information appeared on the internet, accusing him of having an affair with someone who was not his friend. The messages were special, personal, and could not be explained any further. The photos spread like wildfire on social media, and soon the couple was going public with all the wrongdoings. He was blind. Although he thought something was wrong, he didn't think it was this. In his mind, their relationship was not right, but it was still built on a foundation of trust. Now, the foundation has collapsed beneath his feet. To him, the visions are terrible, but not for the reasons people might think. He's not just worried about their deaths, he's afraid he'll lose the life they've built together. The style, the public image, the attention of millions, it all affects him. The media's anger. Every day brings new stories, new accusations. It only applies to atheism. Financial documents have been released, suggesting the couple's lifestyle was financed through shady means. Business partners came in with allegations of dishonesty. What started as a love story has now turned into something serious. Public opinion began to turn. Fans who once adored them now doubt everything. Do they really love each other, they asked people. Or is it all just an act? The couple's every move has been analyzed and criticized. Their silence fueled speculation. When they fixed the situation, there was a joint report. They did not deny the allegations but asked for privacy and understanding. All relationships have their challenges, the statement said. We work through this together as a couple. But the damage was done for him, betrayal depends on him. Not only does he have to deal with the fallout of the scandal, he's faced with the fact that someone he thought knew him better than anyone else was hiding something from him. He began to doubt everything, every word he said and every promise he made. To him, shame is a warning. He always thought he was in control of everything, his career, his public image, his relationships. But now, you have realized that some things cannot be controlled or exploited. He had crossed the line and there was no turning back. As the weeks passed, the truth gradually became clear. Former friends and colleagues began telling their stories, painting a starkly different picture of the couple's relationship. Apparently, their beloved love story is far from over. But even when the truth comes to light, there is still uncertainty. Some believe the couple's problems were caused by external pressures, as the constant need for fame forced them to constantly evolve. Some say the cracks have always been there, hidden underground. Dishonor is not the only story of betrayal. This is a story about the dangers of perfection. People will go to great lengths to protect an image, even at the cost of their own happiness. In the end, the couple was left to pick up the pieces of their broken lives. Their perfect love story is ultimately revealed to be an illusion, and the world no longer sees them as their new selves. But that's only part of the story. As we will see in the next section, this scandal was just the beginning. What follows is a battle for survival, a struggle not only to rebuild their relationship but their entire lives. The public reaction was immediate and relentless. There was a deluge of commentary in the media, gossip blogs, and social media. Hot tags on the forum ranged from sympathetic to cruel, with people debating whether the couple deserved forgiveness or condemnation. They are no longer just individuals, they are icons, their lives being broadcasted by millions of people who think they know them. Fans felt betrayed. Over the years, they've put thought into the idea of this perfect love story and shared their hopes and dreams with each other. They've nurtured them, shown them their worth, and protected them from critics. Now these former fans are questioning their own judgment. How could they be so blind? Some are taking sides. Some are against him, calling him a fraud and a cheat. They have flooded his social media pages with messages of support, offering words of encouragement and showing his appreciation. On the other hand, some have sympathized with him, saying that he is only human, and that mistakes should not define a person. Of course, it was a busy day in the news. All aspects of the couple's lives are illuminated by the private conversations about their finances. News experts and pundits have discussed the scandal on primetime television, while investigative journalists have dug into the past, revealing information previously hidden from the public. A very disturbing story has emerged from a secretive source, an online profile that he allegedly used to chat with other women. The images of the messages have gone viral, causing outrage. At the same time, old conversations have been re-examined and the hidden meaning of each word has been explored. The story quickly got out of hand, and rumors and speculation outpaced the facts. He tried to control his emotions, but the constant scrutiny took its toll. Photographers camped outside his home, eager to capture his every move. Speculation was rife about his mental state, with the media asking if he was on the verge of a breakdown. Friends who visited him were pressed for information, while anonymous netizens poured out their disbelieving thoughts. He also faced constant criticism. Some people try to defend his character, most condemn him. He has been pelted with words like narcissist and manipulator, painting him as the villain in the story that made him the hero. His relationships have also suffered, business partners have distanced themselves, positions have been withdrawn, and invitations to social events have dried up. For both of them, the scandal is not just a personal crisis, it's a public spectacle. The world has put them on a pedestal, and now it seems determined to see them fall. But in the midst of the chaos, some voices urged caution. "We don't know the whole story," some argued. "Don't be so quick to judge." These voices were lost in the noise, but they pointed to a deeper truth: the scandal is more serious than expected. The couple, who were trying to cope, added fuel to the fire. They issued a statement seeking privacy and understanding, but their words were deeply moving. If they wanted privacy, critics said, they shouldn't have been so public about their relationship in the first place. When she gave her first solo interview since the disaster broke, it was heartbreaking and revealing. She fought back tears as she spoke about the pain of betrayal and the difficulty of moving on. Her vulnerability touched many viewers, but it also raised new questions. Was it a complete shock to him, or did he know from the start that their relationship was doomed? On the other hand, most remained silent. No matter how many times he tried to speak, people didn't understand and accused him of controlling the conversation. For someone who always seemed so sophisticated and composed, his silence was deafening. As the weeks turned into months, there was no sign that the damage had subsided. It became a cultural phenomenon, with editorials and documentaries exploring it later. Celebrities have their own thoughts on love, trust, and the pressures of fame. Books have been written, podcasts have been recorded, and philosophical ideas have flourished. This couple's life is now an open book. But despite all the care and analysis, the truth remains elusive. What happened behind closed doors? Did they suffer circumstances, or did they bring it upon themselves? This is the price of perfection. The world loved them because they seemed unpleasant, and now they hate them for the same reason. Their story is no longer about them. It is a reflection of society's obsession with love, fame, and the ideals of a perfect life. But as the excitement reached its peak, new questions began to arise. Will they find salvation? Or does their story end here? As a cautionary tale about the dangers of living for the good of others? After the incident, the two found themselves at a crossroads. Their once perfect lives were shattered, and the weight of public opinion was weighing on them like never before. But amidst the confusion, one question remains. Can what is broken be rebuilt? Has it been too long? Salvation came to him in the form of a rebirth. He withdrew from public view, for the safety of his neighbors and family. When she stepped out of the spotlight, fans were curious, but also loving. When she returned, the project took on a new look. She used her platform to talk about the importance of resilience, self-esteem, and healing. His first public appearance in months was a carefully planned interview. Simply dressed, with no signs of the beautiful person she once was, she spoke openly about her experiences. "I'm not perfect," he said. "And so was our relationship. But I've learned that sometimes the hardest moments in life teach us more about who we are." The conversation went viral and sparked an outpouring of support. People are drawn to her vulnerability and her willingness to face reality head-on. She started talking more about her journey, her struggles, her growth, and the lessons she's learned. Slowly but surely, she's starting to rebuild her reputation not as one of those perfect partners, but as a strong and independent person. Instead, he took a completely different path. At first, he was quiet, hoping the storm would pass. But as weeks turned into months, it became clear that silence was out of the question. He must respond to the allegations and take responsibility for his actions if he is to save his job and his reputation. In his first public statement, he admitted that he had made a mistake. "I let people down," he said. "More importantly, I let the people I love the most down." Although his words drew mixed reactions, they marked the beginning of his efforts to reform. He reached out to those he had wronged, personally apologizing and asking for forgiveness. He also began to focus on giving back, using his resources to support causes he believed in. Critics accused him of trying to redeem himself, but others saw his actions as sincere. Their paths, once closely intertwined, now seemed separate. As he focused on rebuilding his life independently, he focused his energy on repairing his public image. The world watches as they each go their separate ways, wondering if their efforts can bring them together. For a moment, it seemed like a reconciliation might be possible. They were seen together at a private event, exchanging seemingly friendly words. However, hopes of a reunion quickly faded when he announced that their relationship was over. "Sometimes love just isn't enough," she said in an emotional post. And that's okay. Their quest for liberation reveals the stark differences between them. While embracing authenticity and personal growth, they struggle to balance regret with a desire to regain public support. Their choices say a lot about who they are as individuals, and why their love story ultimately failed. As time went on, new details about the scandal began to emerge, painting a more complicated picture of their relationship. Friends, former colleagues, and even anonymous sources came forward, sharing stories that shed light on what went on behind closed doors. One of the most surprising things about their relationship over the years is that despite their appearance as a happily married couple, they have struggled with the same issues that most people face: relationship problems, the demands of life, and the pressures of living in an unrealistic way. The truth is that their relationship was built on a foundation that wasn't as solid as it seemed. From the beginning, they were more focused on creating a perfect life than on fixing the pieces that had already formed. Their love was genuine, but also simple, and the weight of fame made it difficult to continue. One of the heartbreaking things that came out was the role of outside pressure in their downfall. They both felt the trap that the fans and the media were waiting for. They were so busy keeping up appearances that they missed the point. But then there was a surprising revelation from him. In his own writings, he expressed his thoughts on the relationship and the scandal that followed. She wrote about the pressure to be perfect, the pain of betrayal, and the difficult decision to let go. "I loved him," she wrote. "But I can't say that love is enough to mend the brokenness." It was hard for her to accept the truth. Even when she admitted her mistakes, she struggled to take full responsibility for the choices that led to the tragedy. "I wanted to be everything to everyone," she said in an interview. "And in that moment, I lost someone who mattered to me." Their story, which once seemed like a fairy tale, became a warning about the dangers of perfection. It reminded them that even the best relationships can have flaws, and that no amount of fame or success can protect you from the consequences of your actions. When the dust settled, the couple's legacy was revealed. They showed the world the good and the bad of love, the beauty and the pain, the joy and the heartbreak. Their story is not just about shame, it's about the choices we make, the pressure to live up to unrealistic expectations, and the courage it takes to keep going when things get tough. In the years since the tragedy, the couple's story has continued to resonate. Their names are no longer associated with images of a perfect romance, but with a deeper story of love, betrayal, and the cost of living in the public eye. What began as a fairy tale has become a cautionary tale that forces people to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves and the relationships they cherish. For him, life after scandal is about finding peace. He stepped away from the spotlight for a while to focus on his healing and personal growth. When he finally returned, he brought a sense of clarity and purpose that inspired many. She became a voice of truth, sharing her experiences with vulnerability and honesty. Her biography, sometimes overshadowed by roles in love stories, thrives on its foundation. She has set up a foundation to help others struggling with the pressures of public life, speaking out about the importance of self-esteem and mental health. Fans who once adored him for being part of the cute couple now admire him for his lack of remorse for his actions. For him, the road to redemption is longer and more difficult. His attempts to rebuild his reputation have been met with mixed reactions. Some have praised his efforts, while others have remained skeptical, questioning whether his motivations were genuine or just an attempt to regain public support. After a while he seemed to get his bearings, focusing on his work and quietly contributing to the causes he believed in. Although he never fully escaped the shadow of the scandal, he learned to accept it and use the lessons from his mistakes to shape himself. A new chapter in his life. Their story has become a cultural staple, sparking conversations about the pressures of fame, the illusion of perfection, and the complexity of human relationships. Documentaries, podcasts, and even books have been created to analyze every aspect of their rise and fall. People argue endlessly about who is to blame, what could have been done differently, and what their stories reveal to society about celebrity romances. But beyond the title and the details, their story carries a deeper lesson. It reminds people that even the best relationships can have flaws, that perfection is often an illusion, and that no one, not even the people we admire most, is immune to the struggles of being human. As the years have passed, the couple's lives have continued to change. They remain separate but united in the public imagination. Sometimes their paths cross at industry events or charity events, sparking a wave of excitement among fans. But they have both moved on and built lives that no longer involve each other. In interviews, they talk about the past with a sense of regret and gratitude. "We were young and we made mistakes," he said in one interview. "But I think we both learned a lot from that time in our lives." He expressed that sentiment in a public statement. "It's not about erasing the past," he said. "It's about learning from it and using those lessons to make it better." Their legacy, ultimately, is not about the suffering, but about what comes after it, the strength, the growth, and the courage to face the truth. Their stories remind us that there is a way forward even when life doesn't turn out the way you expected. And so the world moved on, but its story endured, a timeless reminder of the fragility of love, the cruelty of misunderstanding, and the power of redemption. In this chapter, remember that behind every story there is a deeper truth, one that challenges our preconceived notions. If you enjoyed uncovering the rise, fall, and resurrection of this famous couple, be sure to subscribe to Tales of Lord Ethan for more exciting stories that go beyond the surface. Your support will help us bring these powerful stories to life. Hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to turn on the notification so you don't miss any more updates. From sad stories to thrilling adventures, Tales of Lord Ethan is where amazing things happen. Thank you for joining. You will see the following article.